What's good, people? I'm black. I'm back. Yeah, I've been working on my speaking. Fuck. I've been working on my speaking skills lately, but we're cooked. And I know I sound like a 12-year-old, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because most people don't want to listen to a 12-year-old. But I feel like Donald Trump might click on one of my videos. But I'm actually not 12, I'm 15. Yes, I know I sound like a prepubescent little boy. I sound like a little boy. Fuck. Anyways, what was I saying? Shit. Yeah, UFC 324, the first pay-per-view, the first event, the first numbered event as they call them now, will be taking place this weekend, this Saturday, Sunday for me because I'm Indian. So yeah, I've written I've kind of thought every single fight through, and what I've noticed is a lot of these fights are 50-50, except for like one or two, but other than that they're very 50-50 fights, and that's why I kind of like this card because they're closed fights, and like in these close fights you kind of get hyped like, oh, who's gonna win, I don't know. So yeah, that's why I'm looking kind of hyped about this paper, even though I think the main event is complete dog shit, hogwash. I do not want to see that shit. I wish Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes was the main event, but obviously it wasn't, and she also pulled out. Something maybe some of us should learn. But yeah, starting off with the first fight on the early prelims. What the fuck did I say? First fight on the early prelims. I've got some water with me today too, because I'm gonna be speaking for a while. Starting off with the first fight on the pay-per-view on the numbered event, the first Paramount card, fucking big Paramount card. I see Paramount investing a lot into this UFC thing, and I like it really. I do think they need to tone it down a little bit. They're like too sunshine type shit. They're too rainbows and sunshine. They're too bright. They're too colorful. They need to tone that shit down a little bit. Yeah, but now these are my full card predictions. And starting off in the early prelims again, the first fight of this card is Ty Miller, which I just wrote as Y Miller for some reason. Ty Miller versus Adam Fuckett. I think Adam Fuckett has a real no, I don't think Adam Fuckett has a chance. The problem is Ty Miller is a decision machine, and I think he's going to decision his way through Adam Fuckett as well. And I think we're going to start the card with a very boring pitter-patter decision. I don't really know how Ty Miller fights, so it's either one of two things. Either he just takes Adam Fuckett down and holds him there for a little bit and we get a boring ass decision, or Ty Miller tries to tries to just throws jabs and leg kicks at range, taking no risks and all that shit. He just gets to a boring pitter-patter decision, and there's not much else to say about it. Undefeated prospect, the fucking can of the UFC, the feeding ground of the prospects, the fucking prospect food, Adam Fuckett. I think he's gonna be just decisioned. I think it might even be 29-28, but I think he's just gonna get decisioned by Ty Miller. Next up, we got Ricky Tercios versus Cameron Smotherman. Now, this is a good fight. I don't know shit. I know Cameron Smotherman is complete ass. Last time I picked him, he lost. So he did pretty good against Ricky Simone, or what I've heard, but I just think it's these guys that you think, oh, they lost the fight, but they did pretty good. They lost the fight, but they did pretty good, better than you expected. In their next fights, they just end up getting fucked up. They just end up losing embarrassingly, horribly. That's sort of what's happening with Cameron Smotherman. Has happened, and I think it's gonna happen again. I think Ricky Tercios has better wins, while Cameron Smotherman has better performances that he's given against guys, even the fights he's lost in. But I just think Ricky Tertius, he's not gonna make it pretty. I think Cameron Smotherman is a very pitter patter, fight in his range kind of fighter. But he does have pretty tight hands. So I think he will crack Ricky Tertius at some point, and he has pretty decent power. Nothing to write home about, but I think he will crack Ricky Tertius a couple of times. But I think ultimately Ricky Tertius by decision is my pick. The reason for this is I analyzed it a bit, I thought about it a bit. I've seen some guys pick Cameron Smotherman, but the more I think about it, the more I start leaning towards Cameron Smotherman, and that's what tells me I should pick Ricky Tertius. I believe in his post-fight speech. Holy shit. Next up, we got Josh Hockett versus Denzel Freeman. The most blackest name that you've ever heard versus the fucking redneck American name you've ever heard. Josh Hockett versus Denzel Freeman. Now, Josh Hockett is an undefeated prospect. Denzel Freeman is good. At first, I was feeling a Denzel Freeman upset, but the more I think about this, technically speaking, stylistically speaking, what they've done, blah blah blah, that's why Josh Hockett should win. But I had a feeling that Denzel Freeman could win, but I don't know what the fuck I just said there. I had a feeling that Denzel Freeman could win, but this is a phenomenon that keeps happening, that whenever you see these very top tier prospects and they go with low level prospects, they will always win. They'll always most likely get a finish. But when you go to a low level prospect, you go to these low level, they're not necessarily cans, but they aren't good either outside. They aren't good either. They end up losing. But I don't think Denzel Freeman crosses that line where he's actually not a can. I think he's still kind of a can. I think he'll lose to Josh Hockett by decision, probably 30-27, maybe even a finish in the first 2 rounds. If not a finish in the first 2 rounds, I think Josh Hockett will get a decision win. Nothing really special. It's just whatever. I don't really give a fuck about this fight. Next up, we've got Michael Johnson versus Alexander Hernandez. I'm hearing voices in the air. Okay, I'm not a really good singer. I think we can tell I'm not a really good singer. But yes, the flukiest fighter of all time versus not necessarily the flukiest, but like the most inconsistent lightweight of all time versus this is exactly what this fight is. The most inconsistent lightweight in history and the most inconsistent lightweight of our time. That's what this fight is. Because Alexander Hernandez, I didn't even know this guy before the Chase Hooper fight. I know I'm a new gen. I only started watching UFC in last year December, but I still knew a couple of cans. But I only know this guy ever since the fucking Chase Hooper fight. But I think Alexander Hernandez wins this fight. I think Michael Johnson is on a nice little streak. Michael Johnson loses a fight streak. First of all, Michael Johnson is way older than Alexander Hernandez, and let's not forget Alexander Hernandez beat. I don't really remember. I didn't watch it. I think he knocked out who's the guy? Fucking that guy, Diego Ferreira. He knocked out Diego Ferreira. That's a really good win in my opinion. Not like Diego Ferreira. I picked Diego Ferreira to beat Alexander Hernandez. He shocked me. Michael Johnson, I also picked Daniel Zellhuber to beat him, but Daniel Zellhuber just threw like kicks at range while Michael Johnson fucking dropped his ass. But I think Michael Johnson, he's not really good anywhere except for his hands. His hands are really fast and good. He has some pop behind his hands too. But Alexander Hernandez is just like levels above him in the boxing. I know the guys he's knocking out Chase Hooper isn't that big of a thing striking wise. It's not that impressive striking wise. But knocking out Carlos Diego Ferreira is really impressive. And I think he has better hands than Michael Johnson, and that's what it all boils down to. I think this would be a mostly boxing-ish match where they both throw a couple of leg kicks, and mostly the fight takes place on the feet. They both throw a couple of leg kicks. They mostly exchange punches. Nobody really goes for a head kick. That's what it will boil down to. And I think Alexander Hernandez knocks out Michael Johnson round 2. I think Michael Johnson will take pretty good shots in the first round. He'll take some good hit, but it's nothing too powerful. And then I think Alexander Hernandez just times his ass with a cross or with a hook, or something like with a cross or a hook. He just times his ass with a punch, and boom, Michael Johnson goes limp. I think we have never seen Michael Johnson really go limp. I think he has went limp, but it's not really that memorable. At first, I was thinking when Alexander Hernandez knocks him down, he'll probably finish it with ground and pound. But now that I think about it, because that's what my first thought was, I think he's gonna just put Michael Johnson out cold. I don't think it's gonna be. There's gonna be ground and pound, but Michael Johnson will be pretty much out. He'll not go completely put to sleep, but he'll be out. And then the ground, like, he will definitely be chicken leg. He'll be seeing stars. He'll be fucking getting. I don't know, man. I don't know. He'll be seeing shit. He won't be properly conscious. And then Alexander Hernandez just finishes him with ground and pound and puts him to sleep. Now I think that's the early prelims. Moving on to the prelims. I think, yeah, the prelims. Starting off the prelims, we got one of the best fights of this card, in my opinion. Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson. Now, listen, this is a straight up grappler versus striker matchup. Charles Johnson, what he does really well is he has really good hands, and he has some of the best boxing in the flyweight division. The reason he's beat boxers is not because he has a kryptonite to boxers. I think he has really good hands. Like, his physical stats, his speed, his power and everything, and his accuracy with his hands is so good that when boxers try to box with him in range, they can't box with him. Obviously, his striking is more well-rounded than those boxers. What I mean by this, look at his two most well-known knockouts. He knocked out Lona Kavanaugh, and he knocked out Joshua Van. Both of those guys are boxers. They don't... Yeah, they throw a couple of kicks and they mix it up here and there. But mostly, they are boxers. They like to box in the pocket. They like to throw punches. And when you try to do that with somebody like Charles Johnson, who has really good hands, you are going to get knocked the fuck out. And then we have Alex Perez, who is pretty much your standard control wrestler with a little bit of a submission threat and a little bit of a striking. He has a pretty okay jab and whatnot. I think Alex Perez could get the fight down to the ground and just blanket Charles Johnson, and that's how the fight ends. But I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Charles Johnson's takedown defense is gonna hold pretty okay. I think the guys he has lost to was due to the grappling. All of his losses are mostly due to grappling, but even in those he did pretty well. His last loss, you could consider it was pretty alright. It wasn't. You could consider that fight was pretty close. I'm just saying shit at this point. But also, this fight is the real people's main event. I think it's gonna end in a finish either way. Either Charles Johnson just gets submitted. I don't think Charles Johnson will get submitted. The reason I think Alex Perez will not be able to implement his grappling. You are getting submitted by Asu Al-Mabayev. The silence is loud. Asu Al-Mabayev, the problem is you're not getting submitted, you are getting guillotined. You're getting guillotined, bro. You got put into not even like a straight up arms around the neck guillotine without any arms. You got put into an arm in guillotine and you tapped to that shit. I just don't think Alex Perez has it in him anymore. Like, Alex Perez is a controlled wrestler, but in his last two fights, he's got demolished by grapplers. Fair, one of them was Tatsuro Taira, and fair, the other one was Aswal Mobile. But look at Manel Kaap, bro. Manel Kaap kept the fight standing. And I don't think Alex Perez will be able to close that range properly. And I think Charles Johnson is probably going to knock him out in the third round. I think as the fight goes on, Alex Perez will get a little bit tired, and that's when that's when he starts shooting sloppily. He starts covering the distance with, a little bit of a hurry, with a little bit of a tension. There's like, shit, English is not my first language. I can't remember that fucking word. He will be closing distance with a little bit like, I have to do this. I have to close the distance. I don't remember what word am I supposed to be fucking using. Fuck. And that's when he gets sloppy with covering the distance or shooting takedowns, and he just gets timed by something. Like, it could be a punch. It will be most likely a punch. I can see an uppercut as he's closing the range, as he's closing the distance, and Charles Johnson will just time him with something, and he's gonna go down, and Charles Johnson is just gonna finish him on the ground. I think Charles Johnson has enough wrestling. It's good enough wrestling that he could win. He could beat Alex Perez. And yeah, the next fight is Nikita Krylov versus Modestas Bukauskas. Modestas Bukauskas by round 1 knockout. Next fight on the card is Ateba Gauthier. Okay. I'm just kidding. I think Nikita Krylov, he at first when he debuted was pretty okay. This was a good striking prospect, but I think Modestas Bukauskas is going to first of all take Nikita Krylov down. Then when the fight's he's either going to knock out Nikita Krylov with ground and pound, or as the fight is standing, he's just gonna punch his way through. But more than likely it will be a ground and pound TKO by Modestas Bukauskas. Modestas Bukauskas is low-key becoming a pretty good prospect. He's someone that you should be looking out for. I know he lost that fight to Ion Cutelaba, and that was a horrible robbery in my opinion. But I think he beats Nikita Krylov. He gets past Nikita Krylov. I don't rate Nikita Krylov that highly. And Nikita Krylov just doesn't have a chin. I understand Dominic Reyes has kind of okay power, respectable power. And, I understand Bogdan Gushkov has really good power. Gushkov is he's like a fucking power merchant, bro. But in hindsight, Dominic Reyes does not have that much power. Like, even in the Anthony Smith fight, he couldn't really put Anthony Smith out cold, which is really hard to do. But Anthony Smith just curled up in a ball. He didn't take much damage. He didn't, get wobbled or anything. He didn't get wobbled hard. Nikita Krylov just got put out cold. And I think that's what's gonna happen. Most likely a ground and pound TKO. It won't be like a put out cold, but he will be seeing fucking stars and shit, bro. Next up, we got Ateba Gauthier versus Andrei Puliev. You guys ever heard? What the fuck? Are you guys seeing the fucking clock? Can you guys hear the fucking clock? Because I can. It's like my room is so silent, I can hear the fucking clock in my room. Tick, tick, tick. Fuck. If you guys can just hear a clock, just imagine it's a metronome or something. I don't know. Fuck it. Ignore it. Anyway, next up we got Ateba Gauthier versus Andrei Puliev. Man, I don't know how to tell you this, but Ateba Gauthier is going to be charged with murder after this one. I don't know what the fuck the UFC is doing. Why are they giving Ateba Gauthier these absolute trash cans? Andrei Puliev is good, but he's not Ateba Gauthier level good. If they give Ateba Gauthier somebody in the rankings, like maybe somebody like Joe Pfeiffer, maybe somebody around that area, I would be a little hesitant picking Ateba Gauthier. But you're giving me absolute cans, bro. Ateba Gauthier round 1 knockout, whatever way he likes. Round 1 knockout, submission, TKO, doctor stoppage, fucking 10-7 first round, I don't care. Ateba Gauthier can do anything to Andrei Puliev. I think it's going to be over in the first round. Ateba Gauthier by whatever he likes. Mouth, throat, booty hole, feet, whatever Ateba Gauthier likes. Whatever Atiba got your likes, that's what will happen in the first round. I think Andrei Pulev is going to get knocked out in the first round. That's my pick. And then headlining the prelims. This is criminal. This should be on the fucking main card. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Davison Figueiredo. I don't know what to fucking tell you. Umar Nurmagomedov by decision. Reason is Davison Figueiredo still has a lot of power. Davison Figueiredo is basically like a little bit more. It's basically Mario Batista with more power, but a little bit less technical, with a little bit worse cardio. That's what Davison Figueiredo is, and I think he's going to lose to Umar, but there is a chance. I can just see Umar getting caught with the overhand and just fucking going out cold. I can see that happening. I can really see that happening. But what I think will happen, what my prediction is, I think Umar Nurmagomedov just beats Davison Figueiredo up a little bit over the rounds in the striking, and mostly just grapples him, takes him down, holds him there, lands a little bit of ground and pound. Davison Figueiredo gets back up. Mario Batista has really good grappling, and he was able to take Batista's back a couple of times in that fight. That's what really impressed me. And I think Davison Figueiredo, best case scenario, Davison Figueiredo gets stuck in half guard and takes elbows to the head. That's best case scenario for Davison Figueiredo. Worst case scenario, Umar submits you like fucking first round, second round. I think we are somewhere in between when Umar gets a pretty dominant 30-27, maybe even a 10-8 round in between decision. But Davison Figueiredo has so much power, you have to respect him while closing the gap. That's why I think it won't be a finish. And Davison Figueiredo has really good jiu-jitsu. I know he got his knee popped against Corey Sandhagen, but Corey Sandhagen and Umar Nurmagomedov are two different kind of grapplers. Umar Nurmagomedov will never be able to destroy Davison Figueiredo's legs and get into those weird Beakers and testing positions that Corey Sandhagen does. Umar Nurmagomedov rides the position. Umar Nurmagomedov is really good at riding the position. He's really good at riding the position with a lot of control, like back takes, full mounts, side control, positions like this. In 50-50 positions, in positions where he like from bottom guard or stuff like that, he's not the technical jiu-jitsu guy that Corey Sandhagen is. And the same, like Corey Sandhagen's jiu-jitsu, just plain jiu-jitsu, is probably the best in the division. And that's why I don't think Umar Nurmagomedov is going to submit Davison Figueiredo, but he's probably going to coast to a pretty dominant decision, or maybe even 29-28, because Davison Figueiredo just cracks him on the chin like Mario Batista did. But I think Mario Batista is a really good prospect, somebody you should look out for, and I just don't think Davison Figueiredo at this age is at the same level as Mario Batista. Hold on, let me drink some water. Anyways, Davison Figueiredo, where were we? Davison Figueiredo. Yeah, I think pretty fun fight. It will probably pretty dominant decision by Umar Nurmagomedov. It will be entertaining, but it won't be like a war. And speaking of a fucking war, speaking of a fucking bloodbath, next up we got Arnold Allen versus Sean Silva. Now hear me out. This is once again one of those 50-50 fights. The main card is all 50-50 fights. Except for Natalia Silva versus Rose Namajunas. Even Waldo Cortez Acosta and Derek Lewis is sort of 50-50 fight. Because Derek Lewis could just cold Waldo Cortez Acosta. Like, at any moment, but I just don't think that will happen. Back to Arnold Allen versus Sean Silva. This is really hard fight to pick. Now, it all depends on their game plan. If Arnold Allen decides that he will fight like he usually does, he's a more technical boxer, he's a more technical striker, he's a better striker, he has better timing, he doesn't rush into things, and I think Sean Silva is just not on the same striking level. He's just a tad bit behind. He's just a couple of steps behind Arnold Allen. But the problem is Arnold Allen doesn't have the same power that Sean Silva does. John Silver hits you, you're going out. And that's why I think this is a tough fight. But if Arnold Allen decides to use his wrestling, which he has pretty underrated wrestling, he needed to beat mobs out. Some people think he beat mobs out. I don't know. I didn't watch the fucking fight. I'm not going back and watching a boring ass fight between Arnold Allen and Mobs Arevlov. But yeah. Anyways, Arnold Allen. Now this is a complete coin flip. You know what? How big of a coin flip fight this is? This is a 50-50 fight, because if Arnold Allen can make like, this is a 50-50 fight. I'm gonna take heads or tails. I'm taking it right now. If it's tails, I'm picking John Silver. If it's Arnold Allen, I'm picking heads. Fuck. How do you do this shit? Okay, that didn't. It's tails. I'm picking John Silver. I'm picking John Silver by decision. I think every time the fighting nerds lose, we've seen CP got thereafter taking a loss and just go on a fucking knockout streak. I don't think John Silver will be able to knock out Arnold Allen, because for one, Arnold Allen has a pretty solid chin, and Allen is just more technical than John Silver. I really want Arnold Allen to win though. I hope Arnold Allen wins. I'm really praying for Arnold Allen to win. I really like John Silver as well, but Arnold Allen, man. I really want Arnold Allen to win. I really hope I'm wrong, and I really hope Arnold Allen wins. But my pick is John Silver by decision. I think Arnold Allen will probably match. The volume will be probably same by both of the guys, and Arnold Allen will probably throw more punches and stuff. But I think John Silver's power will kind of make up for it, and he will win. And I think Arnold Allen, he's gonna go into a war. I don't think he's planning on using his fucking wrestling anywhere. But if he does use his wrestling, man, he's gonna win this shit. It's not even the fact that he can get takedowns and hold John Silver there. It's the frustration. John Silver is going to get frustrated, and Arnold Allen is going to keep beating him at range. Yeah, but my pick is John Silver. I really hope Arnold Allen wins. There's a pretty solid game plan for both of these guys here. It just really depends if Arnold Allen wrestles or he doesn't wrestle. It just really depends on that. Since I'm picking John Silver to win, I think Arnold Allen will go out there. He'll have a fucking war. He'll try to have a war. He'll try to win a war. But against John Silver, unless you're Diego Lopez, you're not winning a fucking war, bro. And even against Diego Lopez, who is one of the best strikers in the featherweight division, I think he's the featherweight champion. I think he's a future featherweight champion. I think he beats Volkanovski in the second fight. John Silver was doing pretty good against Diego Lopez as well, until he got knocked out. And I'm talking about striking. I'm not necessarily talking about the whole grappling and all that. John Silver got completely dominated in the grappling. That's why I think Arnold Allen might be able to do something. I might be able to win this fight if he uses his wrestling. I keep saying that over and over again. I really hope he does, and I really hope he wins this fight. But I think it's gonna be a war, and John Silver obviously beats everybody in the war, unless you're Diego Lopez. Next up, we got Natalia Silva. My pick is John Silver by decision. Next up, we got Natalia Silva versus Rose Namajunas. This should be on the fucking prelims. This should be headlining the prelims, and Umar Nurmagomedov versus Davison Figueiredo should be on the main card. But I think Natalia Silva is gonna coast to a decision. 29-28 decision for Natalia Silva. There's not much else to say. I'm really sad. I really hope Rose Namajunas wins this. It will be fun to see Rose Namajunas get back to a title shot. I'm a really big Rose Namajunas fan. If you guys didn't know, I'm a really big Rose Namajunas fan. You know, that's fuck. See, English is not my first language. That's why this shit happens. English is not my first language. I think you guys can even hear it in my accent a little bit. But Rose Namajunas. That's why I say shit over and over again, because my accent is just fucked up. English is not my first language, but I think Rose Namajunas, she has good enough grappling, but her striking is just too slow for Natalia Silva. Natalia Silva will speed mog Rose Namajunas. She will absolutely speed mog Rose Namajunas. That's it. That's pretty much it. My pick is Natalia Silva by 29-28 unanimous decision. Maybe even a split decision, but I can see a unanimous decision. I think Rose Namajunas' last performances haven't really impressed me that much. Yeah, you beat Tracy Cortez. Alright. Natalia Silva beat Alexa Grasso. And she was able to stop the wrestling of Alexa Grasso, which I think Rose Namajunas has better wrestling than Alexa Grasso, but not by a complete fucking mile. Not by that long of a shot. And I think Natalia Silva will be able to stop the wrestling and will be able to, just strike at range with Rose Namajunas, just absolutely speed mog her. She'll be able to fucking speed mog Rose Namajunas. I really hope Rose Namajunas wins, but I've come to accept it. I think Natalia Silva is gonna win this one by unanimous decision. Next up, I'm hearing voices in there. I'm hearing the people's main event. We got Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Derek Lewis. We got Salsa Boy. You guys know me and Salsa Boy have a love-hate relationship. Ooh, fuck. Waldo Cortez Acosta, I kind of hated him at the beginning of his career because he was just a fat blob. And then he goes out there and knocks out Marcin Tybura. Then he goes out there, takes punches against Sergey Pavlovich. Then he goes out there and knocks out Shamil the Goat Gaziev. As for Derek Lewis's power, I'm not really worried. Derek Lewis is not that accurate of a guy, to be honest. When was the last time you saw Derek Lewis throw a punch to a body? When was the last time that happened? I'm just asking, when was the last fucking time that happened? So, I'm just saying, Waldo Cortez Acosta is a way more technical striker, though he does rush into things. But he's fighting fucking Derek Lewis. And Waldo Cortez Acosta is the future champion, man. There's no other way around it. Waldo Cortez Acosta is the future of this division. Yeah, that might... But I mean, he just knocked out... I said he knocked out Marcin Tybura, didn't I? He knocked out Ante Delia, which is even better than Marcin Tybura. But Derek Lewis's most recent win is Dalishon Teixeira. And I think Derek Lewis is too old. He's not fast enough. Waldo Cortez Acosta has really good speed. And unless Derek Lewis lands really good shot, unless Derek Lewis lands a really big, really loads up and really lands a really good shot exactly at his chin, I don't think, unless that happens, I don't think Waldo Cortez Acosta is getting knocked out by Derek Lewis. Waldo Cortez Acosta has a great chin. I think Waldo Cortez Acosta round 1 knockout. I think Waldo Cortez Acosta takes a couple of punches to the head, like the temple, lands a couple of his own punches, really good punches, and then Derek Lewis just gets wobbled, and then Waldo Cortez Acosta just goes in, finishes the job. Probably, Derek Lewis probably gets backed up. It probably gets really hurt and gets dropped, but he isn't finished. So Waldo Cortez Acosta just finishes him. I think, that's what will happen. Either way, the fight's gonna end in knockout. It's the people's main event. It's the people's main event, bro. Yeah, that's that. Next up, we got Sean O'Malley versus Song Ding Dong. This all boils down to if Song Yadong can implement his wrestling. I don't think Song Yadong will be able to implement his wrestling. For Sean O'Malley is way longer than Song Yadong. You guys understand Song Yadong had problems striking with Henry Cejudo. Here's the thing. To implement your wrestling in MMA, you have to implement your striking as well. Unless you have good striking, you won't be able to implement your wrestling as well. Obviously, unless you're Khamzat Chimaev, that is. But I think Song Yadong is going to probably just struggle at range, struggle covering distance. You are not Merab. For one, Merab, when he blitzes it, if he gets caught, he is not going to get knocked out. But Song Yadong, he is going to get knocked out. And Song Yadong doesn't necessarily have the same power that a Merab does. Yeah, he has knockout power, but he doesn't really have the same ability to break you as Merab does. Also, in the first fight, Merab did lose 2 of the 5 rounds, but yeah, I just don't think Song Yadong is that good, man. Song Yadong lost to Corey Sandhagen, lost to fucking lost to fucking Peter Yan, and I just don't think he's that good. Your best win is probably Marlon Moraes or Henry Cejudo. For one, Henry Cejudo got battered by Peyton Talbot. Got absolutely destroyed, demolished by Peyton Talbot. And I don't rate Peyton Talbot that highly. And you couldn't even finish Henry Cejudo. That's what I'm saying, right? You went to an IPOC decision with Henry Cejudo. I just don't think Song Yadong is all that, you know. Now, it all boils down to, can Song Yadong implement his wrestling? I think we all know Song Yadong is going to implement his wrestling. I think Song Yadong knows he has to implement his wrestling in order to win this. I think Sean O'Malley knows Song Yadong wants to implement his wrestling to win this. I just don't think, for one, the reason Sean O'Malley struggles with wrestling that much is because he's just not that strong. But the reason he lost to Merab, the reason Merab was able to pick him up and just throw him on the ground is because he's not that strong. But Song Yadong, on the other hand, he's not, first of all, not as good of a wrestler as Merab, and second, he's not as strong as Merab, and his pace isn't as good as Merab's is. And I think, and also another factor is, he doesn't have the same chin that Merab has. Meaning, if he tries to push the pace that Merab pushes, first of all, he's going to get gas. That's one. Second, he's going to get clipped. Merab is really good at blitzing in. And Merab got caught by Sean O'Malley a lot of times, but he has a crazy chin. Same thing with Piotr Yan. Merab blitzes in, gets caught by Piotr Yan. The main reason people are picking Song Yadong is because they think he's going to wrestle, and he also has pretty okay striking. But I just don't. The way Merab covers distance is very smart. It's way better than Song Yadong's is. And Song Yadong, like, if you saw the Henry Cejudo fight, you'll know what I mean. He can get caught a couple of times. He's probably gonna be either too worried about getting caught, and then he won't be able to implement his wrestling, or he'll try to push a pace like Merab did, and he's probably going to get caught and chinned. But I think Sean O'Malley by decision is a pretty solid pick. I'm gonna lock that in. I think Sean O'Malley is going to win. Sean O'Malley knocked out Aljamain Sterling. Merab, for one, is just a nightmare matchup for Sean O'Malley. He's strong. He's extremely short for the division, which against a tall, lanky guy is just better for takedowns. Yeah, sure, it's harder to cover distance, but if you ever see, first of all, Merab doesn't have to worry about getting caught. Merab has a pretty granite chin. He can take shots. Song Yadong is not the same as Merab. First of all, he won't be able to get in on takedowns as smoothly. And second, if he tries to blitz in, if he tries to push that pace, his defense will be lacking and he is going to get caught and he's going to probably get dropped. So I think Sean O'Malley by decision. That's my pick. Sean O'Malley just throws kicks and jabs and throws a 1-2 on the outside, throws a couple of leg kicks and wins this shit. And now for the main event. I really, really am stuck. But you know what I did? I watched Bedtime's prediction. and I think Justin Gaethje is gonna win. It's not that I think Justin Gaethje should win. Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. Let's think about this. Justin Gaethje needs to defend takedowns, he needs to get into boxing range, and needs to punch Paddy Pimblett's head off. Paddy Pimblett needs to either be at kicking range or needs to be either at either needs to be grappling. So here's the problem. Paddy Pimblett doesn't necessarily have that great of takedowns. And when he does try to get into that range, Paddy Pimblett is first of all taller than Justin Gaethje. So he's probably gonna have problems shooting takedowns. He's only taller by like an inch. You can't even really notice it. He's way bigger than Justin Gaethje, so I think he has an advantage in the grappling there. But I think the word around the street is Justin Gaethje is practicing defense, submission defense and all that. And Justin Gaethje has always had pretty okay wrestling. People point back to the Rafael Fiziev fight and they're like, Justin Gaethje got taken down and put into a submission by Rafael Fiziev. First of all, Rafael Fiziev is an underrated grappler. I think when people say that, they don't really understand. Rafael Fiziev is a pretty solid grappler as well. And the reason Rafael Fiziev got that close is, for one, he's smaller than Justin, was able to get so close in order to get the takedown. For one, it's because he's so much smaller than Justin Gaethje. And two, his striking is pretty much, like, his striking is very, very good. Paddy Pimblett just doesn't have the same striking. I think first 2 rounds, Paddy Pimblett is going to win those, and the last 3 rounds, Justin Gaethje is just gonna put it on him. Justin Gaethje has pretty good cardio. Paddy Pimblett has solid cardio too, but trying to go for takedowns over and over again will tire him out. And it's not even the part about getting tired out that's gonna compromise Paddy in the later rounds. He's gonna become sloppy. His defense is gonna get sloppier and sloppier. Fuck. Why does that sound so bad? His defense is going to get worse and worse. He's going to rush into range. He's not really gonna pay attention to his defense. Justin Gaethje might just clip him. And I think Justin Gaethje is good enough to the point where he's able to defend a couple of submission attempts from Paddy. I think Justin Gaethje going into this fight, everyone's been in his ear saying, bro, don't let Paddy get takedowns. Don't let Paddy get takedowns. I think in his camp, he's probably gonna work on takedowns. I know Justin Gaethje is a scrambly motherfucker, but he's probably gonna scram. His grappling defense is mostly just scrambling up. That's how he got put into the choke by Charles Oliveira, I think. As far as I remember, he was just trying to scramble his way back up. Charles just took his back. But for one, Justin Gaethje is more controlled now. And two, Charles didn't even take him down. Charles dropped him, and the sequence happened afterwards. Yeah, Paddy took Michael Chandler down. But first of all, that's Michael Chandler. Second of all, Michael Chandler also took him down. And he was getting caught by Michael Chandler here and there. You know what? I believe in Justin Gaethje. I think Justin Gaethje is gonna be pretty held back. He's not gonna be completely wild when this fight starts. Paddy Pimblett is probably gonna try to take him down after he throws a leg kick. After Justin Gaethje throws a leg kick, Paddy's probably gonna try to catch it and take him down. But I think what's gonna happen is Paddy Pimblett probably gets takedowns, controls him a little bit. Justin Gaethje eventually gets back up. He doesn't get submitted. And eventually, when Paddy has to cross the distance, when he gets into that range where he wants to be in order to grapple with him, Justin Gaethje is gonna start using his boxing. He's gonna make reads, and his boxing is going to start to improve pretty much. I don't know what I'm saying. You understand? Paddy Pimblett does not have great wrestling. He's probably gonna have better wrestling in this fight than he has ever had. But after you're getting taken down and slammed onto the ground by fucking Michael Chandler of all people, who nearly took your back. But because he's fucking Michael Chandler, you can't. And the thing is, Paddy Pimblett's range, he has way longer range than Justin Gaethje. But because Michael Chandler is a fucking midget, Michael Chandler got stuck at range by Paddy Pimblett because he's a fucking midget. But Justin Gaethje is nearly the same height as Paddy Pimblett, and has a little bit of a reach disadvantage. So I don't think it's going to be that egregious. And I think if Paddy Pimblett decides to get sloppy and tries to exchange punches, he's just gonna get rocked. If Paddy Pimblett, even once in the fight, decides that fuck it, I'll just throw something out there, I'll try to throw one to try to get Justin Gaethje to notice the 1-2 and gets into the pocket and tries to box even a little bit, Justin Gaethje is going to eat that, and he's going to land a bigger punch of his own. That's going to probably wobble Paddy Pimblett. Reason for that is it's not because Justin Gaethje has a good chin. Justin Gaethje has a fucking dog shit chin, but Paddy Pimblett doesn't have the same power that Justin Gaethje does. Unless Paddy sits down on his punches, unless Paddy really is trying to throw a punch at you and he's really trying to knock you out, unless Paddy's trying to do that, he doesn't have that much power. And his boxing defense is just... It's going to be better in this fight, I can assure you. But I think Justin Gaethje will shock people in the later 3 rounds. I think either it will be a round 4 knockout by Justin Gaethje, or it will be a Justin Gaethje decision. The first 2 rounds will be kind of close. The first 2 rounds you could go either way. The last 3 rounds are just in Justin Gaethje's bag, because Paddy starts to get frustrated and there's this sense of panic, and then he starts to shoot panic takedowns, then he tries to even pull guard. I think Justin Gaethje's grappling is bad, but it's not that bad that when Paddy Pimblett starts to pull guard, he'll just try to do something in his guard. Listen, Justin Gaethje will either stand up or he'll just land fucking punches on Paddy on the ground. And yeah, I think Paddy's probably gonna get a little bit more. Paddy's probably going to get more gassed than Justin Gaethje in the later rounds, and I think Paddy's going to get more frustrated than Justin Gaethje in the later rounds, because he won't be able to implement his grappling as well, and he will be getting tagged up with leg kicks, and he will be getting tagged up with punches. And I think Justin Gaethje is a very dynamic fighter as well. So I think, yeah, Justin Gaethje overall shouldn't win on paper. Everything tells me that I should put the house on Paddy Pimblett, but I think Paddy Pimblett's probably fucking gonna lose. Listen, Rafael Fiziev is a better win than Michael Chandler. That's all I have to say. Listen, I know everything points to Paddy Pimblett winning, and that's why he got Justin Gaethje, because they want him to win. But I think Justin Gaethje is probably gonna knock Paddy Pimblett out, if you're being real though. But I'm gonna pick Justin Gaethje by decision, and that's my picks for UFC 324. I know this is a long ass video. You can just play it on the background or something. Should have said that earlier. My bad. Anyways, that will do it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.